This is Brian Atlas. Andrew Wilson triggers feminists by saying patriarchy is benevolent. And isn't that just right? Isn't the patriarchy so benevolent that women are allowed to speak? Joking.
So,
and when the benevolent patriarchy decides to take that away,
it's
they
not,
ain't gonna vote.
No, it's not malevolency. It's not malevolency. It's they have to.
They don't have to.
Yes, they do.
Why?
Revolution. Female revolution. You think it's not possible?
Oh, female revolution.
Well, okay, I get the argument here. The thing is, if it wasn't for men, female revolution wouldn't have meant anything. Let's be honest, because men were in power, still kind of are, depending on the situation, depending on what exactly it is. Women still wouldn't be working, and America would still have a single household income. Like one job could literally hold down an entire household. Because women joined the workforce, as good as that was, it also created a problem because now we had another whole half the population joining the labor force, which meant there weren't enough jobs to go around. That, well, we now started to, we designed it for 2 household income.
Tell me all about the female revolution.
Okay, listen, not like
Where
actual,
was that?
Not like actual.
Did they
war.
grab guns, take the patriarchy
You
down,
look really,
bash their brains
you
in
look
with their
really
rifle
silly
barrels?
and emotional right
Ooh,
now,
they
girl.
were
Are you on your period?
savages.
Anyways,
he might be.
Holy shit, this is hilarious.
But what I was
Female
saying,
revolution.
yeah, okay, like as in we stopped doing our motherly duties. We
No, you
abort
didn't.
all of our children, ourselves. we don't work.
You just coat hanger
up.
them out, right?
Sorry.
But hey, the whole, here's the big, giant, massive hole in your argument again. Why do you think that you're allowed to do any of those things if the patriarchy says no?
But they play chess. They play chess. Why would they allow us to if they didn't have to? The only reason why they allow us to do things is because they have to.
That's weird. So every move you make on a chessboard is because you have to make the move?
No.
No.
Well, yeah, I'm saying
Yeah?
if they box you, if the other person is playing chess and they box you in somehow, you're gonna have to move to not get checkmate,
She's
right?
With the men, she's
And?
right.
So
with that.
men
She's
would
right.
take all the power if they could.
They
But
can.
Yeah, they would take away our right to vote tomorrow if they could, but they
Which
can't.
brings
No,
me to
they-
the question
you have
I've been
what
trying
is
to ask for like
called-
30 minutes.
You have what is
What?
called a benevolent patriarchy.
Well,
And because
no.
the patriarchy is benevolent, they don't like to see women uncomfortable.
Okay, so-
they have
Oh,
worked.
they don't like to
They
see
don't.
women.
Oh my gosh. It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense.
uncomfortable.
They have worked tirelessly inside of the Christian ethic to do everything that they possibly can do.
All men
So that
work within the Christian
Women, most men inside of the United States did, yeah.
Most men.
Okay,
I
but
have a
why?
question.
Why
What was your question?
Thank you. Why is it okay? So aside everything that we've been, listening to for the last 30 minutes, which is like reactionary, why, if men believe this, why are they not then reinforcing this into their house? Because, like she said,
belief
men,
is the key.
Yeah, but men in
But
their own
the
houses,
odds-
why are they being cucks to the
saying
feminist
that
ideology and not
something- again,
controlling their own house?
Saying something is true versus something
No,
not.
that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm saying, why
You
are men
are.
not defending their own beliefs in their own
That's a
home
descriptive
and
claim of
enforcing
is.
them? Why are they
Is
not
that a
enforcing
descriptive
their
claim
own...
of is, or is it an ought claim?
No, I'm saying, why are men not being accountable in their own houses and leading their women and
Okay.
children to the best way that
Let's
they
back
see
up
fit?
so I can try to explain it to you.
Wait, isn't that just called being a father? Isn't that just called being a husband and father? What am I missing? What am I missing?
That is an is claim. When you say, why aren't men doing X, you're talking about what is happening
So
currently.
you
Stop
ought to tell your
talking.
wife not to vote.
Still trying. She doesn't. I vote. And she votes how I tell her to double my vote. Now, back to this. What you're
Makes sense.
what you're asking, that is an is claim, right? It's a descriptive truth of what's happening right now, right?
Men are not enforcing what they believe
Right.
in their house. Yes.
Right. Okay, so that is a descriptive claim. It's not an ought claim. What should happen?
Well, they should be enforcing
because
their,
just because
their
you can have
ideology in their home.
just because you can have a society which can be brainwashed and they can do all sorts of things like
Mhm.
oh, I don't know, have a social contagion like the you where Gen Z says now that 1 in 4 of them identify as equal, right? You can claim that that's a social contagion. Populations can be bamboozled. They are all the time. But if you look at patriarchal, okay, if you talk about patriarchal nations, though, I can point nation after nation after nation after nation who literally says to women, no rights.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying
But
that the
that's what
men
you
who
wanna
are
do.
leaders,
It's
the
not
men.
what I want to do.
I'm
It's
saying,
what you just argued for.
no, that's not even.
not
That's
what I
not
did.
even.
No, he's just saying that's the possibility. It's because let's just be honest, the world has always been pushed forward by men, and the one like those women through history that have their names known, they are normally outright insane. I mean, there was that one queen that bathed in the blood of like young women, thinking it would keep her young forever. There was, I mean, Joan of Arc, very, very violent. Queen of Jhansi, very violent. I mean, it's those violent ones that really led revolutions. It's rare for men to actually look at a woman and be like, you know, well, that's someone worth following. I mean, that's sad. That's sad. It shouldn't be that way, but that's just how the world works. Men are easily motivated by other men, not so much by women. Women, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say women are an object, but women are nurturers. Women are the caretakers. Women aren't the ones out on the battlefield. Women like to follow other men. When it comes to like, there is no more, I'm going to get hate. There is no more dysfunctional structure I have ever seen than working in a workplace that has like, you know, I'm just not going to finish that. I'm just not going to finish it. But you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. But yeah, it's very dysfunctional, especially when it's from top down. There has to be some breakage in between. Because let's be honest, women don't like taking orders from other women. There's a combative nature that's instilled in like women in general, where they always need to, again, not always, but they have this instilled doctrine where they need to compete. And they don't like another woman showing them up. Again, not one-to-one with everyone, but that seems to always be the case, especially in a lot of workplaces I've worked at, that if there's a female boss, all the women that work underneath the female boss hate her. They hate her because they don't want to have a woman be superior to them. They prefer a guy being superior to them because they can listen to a man. They don't want to listen to another woman. Yeah, the patriarchy is benevolent.
But what I'm talking about, I'm saying that the men within their own homes are supposed to.
Do you think that women in this nation were oppressed until they had the right to vote a few years ago? Seriously? Is that what you think? You think our founders oppressed women on purpose? They just wanted to oppress them all? Tell me.
What does that have to do with the men taking accountability?
Is that what you think?
Not having a say in the government is kind of...
They were just oppressing women, our founders?
Men share power. There is no balanced power. There is no power dynamic. There are no boss babes.
No.
Please revolt. I double dog dare you. The patriarchy stands ready to teach you the wages of arrogance.
Yeah, so anyway, you think that our founders, and you think America was inherently sexist towards women. I just want to hear you say that on record because we didn't let them vote.
The men actually did vote to allow women to vote. So
okay,
I can't say that the men didn't allow them to vote.
That was recent. Most of American history, that is not the case, correct?
Well, there was a long period of time where women did not have the right to vote.
Right.
They didn't have the right to own property.
But most men also did not have the right to vote.
By the way, actually, one of the reasons why some of the Christian churches actually engaged in polygamy.
Yeah, it was primarily, if history serves, I think it was only landowners. Only landowners were allowed to vote, like people who actually, yeah. So it's changed throughout. We're now everyone has the ability to. Everyone has the ability to vote.
Which I'm not endorsing polygamy, but one of the reasons was because when a woman's husband died in war or any illness, anything, they didn't have the right to own the property. So what they would do is that's why they would
women always had the right to own property.
No.
Especially their husbands. Yes, they did. That's a feminist talking point.
They would marry in order to retain the property.
In fact, the opposite is true. Men couldn't retain women's property. Yeah. Women could always retain their own property. How the do you not know this stuff? This is basic anti-feminist rhetoric 101. Women could always own property in the United States. Where did you get the idea that they couldn't? Where did you ever get that idea?
Women's studies classes.
Yeah, no shit.
I didn't take women's studies
Well, where did you get the idea that you own property?
That's literally, I've read about it in history that women didn't
Where
have
did
the
you
right
read
to
this? In
own
neverhappened.com? Where was this at?
Reddit.com.
That you read about women not being able to own
women
property?
Always had the right to own property.
Yes, women could always own property. Where almost everywhere in the world, women could own property. That's not tied to voting necessarily.
A lot of
Actually,
women
Actually, originally voting was tied to property.
They owned a lot.
Voting was tied to properties that were owned by men. Not properties that were owned.
No, voting was tied to whether or not you had a right to vote.
Where men had the right to vote, women did not have.
Men with property had the right to vote. Women with property were seen as someone worth marrying. That's how it worked because that was the dowry. Okay, let's bring it back to what I was talking about a while ago. The dowry. Every nation has had its own version of that. That's what it was. You would give the wife away with something, or the daughter away with something. Why would the man marry that person if there's no value in it for them when they can just get a dime a dozen somewhere else? That sounds kind of bad, but yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But yeah, that's primarily what it was. And then the man, as soon as the marriage happens, has the right to vote because now he's got that ability to.
Right to vote. Suffrage was limited. Suffrage was limited on purpose. Our founders knew exactly what they were doing. They did not want pure democracy. They knew exactly what it was. A nightmare scenario. That's exactly what it is. So they limit suffrage.
So that was back when half the population was uneducated.
Real quick, that's what I wanted to ask you.
Oh, but women had the most amount of education in those populations.
False.
No, women have always done, since public schooling began, better inside domestic testing.
Well, that's why they were the teachers. That's why women were primarily the teachers, because that's just statistically right. It was rare to have a male teacher back in the day.
And have had better grades than men always have. Not only that, but the feminists of the world that you're talking about flew all around the world, were highly educated, hung out with aristocrats, wrote books, they got published all over the place. These were not oppressed women. Bull.
Okay, but why are we still ignoring the fact that men are obligated as the leader and the head of the home to control their own house?
Can I answer your question, and then can I also ask you a question?
Yeah, I want to understand why we're not focusing on the root, which is men being responsible in their own house. And why are you cucking to your wife's feminist ideology?
I noticed
Is it men's fault, Andrew?
No.
No, okay. men can control themselves.
I was going to say that I've noticed in some of the dynamics in relationships in people I know, men kind of just say it's easier, they prefer peace, so they would rather
so they
just
cuck.
not
They cuck in the moment and think that it's
no. The men don't like to get overly into emotional arguments, that they're willing to just be like, okay, whatever. And the thing is, the more that happens, the more the guy kind of disconnects from the relationship. There is nothing in the relationship for them. They're just a tool. They're just a whipping bag at that point.
They suffer their family long term for the instant gratification.
Well,
yeah, that's what's happening.
What I observe is that they would basically say, kind of subscribe to the idea, happy wife, happy life.
In the moment, but then long term, everyone suffers. They're calculating the destruction of their own family by their own personal good feelings in that moment.
Yeah, it's the issue right now where it's the overly blown feminist movement, where it has created an overfluctuation of incels and an overfluctuation of the counterpoint, the performative males. The performative males will get in a relationship, will be with them, will capitulate to everything they say until they're completely whipped empty, whipped dry, that they end up either becoming an incel or leaving for the next one that's going to control them.
This happened because Bolshevik communists came in, and they went into institutions
who decided to stay true to their convictions and their pride as a man.
Listen, you can have what's called demoralization of a society. It's just part of a communist progression for most places that they infiltrate. This happened right here in the United States. It's happening in Canada. It's happening all over the West. And what happened was there was an infiltration of Bolsheviks who got a hold of the institutions, and they have been slowly demoralizing the public. There's no doubt that this is true. You laugh and scoff, but it's true.
You should read Anthony.
That's probably why you're a socialist.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. This stuff has been ingrained for a long time. These people that don't understand, or they reap the benefits of capitalism while screaming how much they hate it and wish for a socialist society. They don't know what they're asking for. They have no concept of it because they've never actually lived through anything actually difficult. They've always had the what is it? Hard times make for strong men make for easy times make for weak men make hard times. I mean, we always go in a cycle, and it's like we're in that hard times situation. Or weak men? Yeah, we're in the weak men where we're going to end up in hard times because there aren't many of us left. I say us. I'm happily married, so I guess I always capitulate to my wife. But then again, what is it in My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Men are the head, women are the neck. Even though we can see and speak, the women guide us to where they want us to go. Because in the end, the women are like the puppet masters behind the strings, making sure everything happens according to their plan. But our mouths always wander crazily. If the surroundings is safe and comfortable, the feminism is possible. Who makes the surroundings safe? Men. Men is a creator, a destroyer of the surroundings. Oh, creator and destroyer of surroundings. I read that wrong. Women is the preserver. Yeah, true. Well, men are the protector and destroyer. Protector and destroyer. I don't know much about creator, because you could easily say creator would be woman as well, since with women they birth the children. So you could say a creator is both men and women. Destroyer is of course men, and then yeah, preserver, yeah, women and men, women and men. Yeah, literally women and men for that one. So women and men the first one, men the second one, and then women and men the third one. Women and men the third one. All right.
You guys made a video? So bad.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait, where's that?